Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of The Providers. This week is going to be a little bit different than any other show that we've done. Number one, Steve's not here. Number two, I've got my daughter, Callie, that's actually going to be hanging out here for the first few minutes of the podcast, and we're going to be telling a story about Callie's first deer hunt that happened this past week. And then we are actually going to get my wife here in the booth, and she is going to answer 5 quick questions that Steve, Matt, and I came up with about us as guys, about hunting, and about what it means to them as wives. And actually, when we were down in Ohio the first week in November, I was able to get Kendra to sit down with me, who's Matt's wife, and have her answer the same 5 questions. So we're going to hear how these answers are a little bit different from each other, maybe what's similar, and maybe how us as hunters can figure out ways to make our significant others maybe a little bit happier during deer season, or maybe some things that we can learn along the way to make home life as smooth as possible while we're trying to hit the woods as much as we humanly can. So this is going to be a fun episode. It's going to be family friendly, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this one.
Nothing cures a troubled mind like leaving boot prints in the mud. As that crisp morning air stands up your neck of hair and your adrenaline starts to flood. When you're a provider, you understand the things the woods can do. How you can lose yourself in the things that you love, but you can find yourself in them too. Yeah, with a hard-hunting, freeze a failing providers. Yeah, with a hard-hunting, freeze a failing providers.
Who doesn't love making a delicious meal for their family? Smokin' It Smokers allow you to do just that. Simply set the settings and walk away, only to come back hours later to have a delicious meal waiting for you. Smokin' It Smokers, when only the best will do.
All right, so this is a pretty special week for me because Steve is not in the studio, and that's not what makes it special. It just makes it a little more peaceful. But it is the first time that I get a chance to throw one of my kids on the podcast. So I've got my daughter Callie with me. Callie, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, good. So we had school today, and then now we're on long Thanksgiving break. So what better time to sit down with Dad to knock out a podcast about shooting your first deer, huh?
Yeah.
So a couple things have happened since the last podcast, because I'm sure you remember that we were all sitting down in the cabin in Ohio scheming how we were going to get all these kids on these Ohio deer. And basically what happened is about Monday, before we were supposed to go back down, I started feeling really crappy. I still don't know what I had. Got to the point my throat hurt really bad. Ended up going and getting some medication on like Wednesday, but just didn't want to risk, giving it to anybody else by going down there. So Callie and I had a conversation and decided it was going to be best if we hung here in Michigan. And since she had her new crossbow, we were gonna head out here. So I actually was getting messages from one of the landowners that have allowed me to hunt for years, but this year I actually haven't been on the property at all. And the reason being is I had 2 trail cameras set up on opposite sides of the property, and I had them in typically good travel areas, and I was literally getting pictures of maybe a single doe every 3-4 days. Well, come to find out, they get a hold of me, and they said, hey, we've got like 11 or 12 deer out in this cut bean field every single morning and every single evening that I had no idea about. If they wouldn't have told me about it, my cameras would not have told me that at all. So I took the ground blind out on Thursday and was able to brush it in. We had some we had some tall grass, didn't we, Callie? Like some really tall grass right next to the bean field, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it'd be a great spot for the blind. So imagine what we're basically dealing with is a 15-acre cut bean field. Hasn't been chisel plowed. So it's still, the remnants of the beans on the ground and the deer just hammering them. But in the middle of this field is a finger that comes out and penetrates about halfway into the field. So I wanted to get the ground blind brushed in to this tall grass out in this finger with the idea that when the deer come out, either from the swamp or the main bedding area, that hopefully eventually they'd work their way towards the center of the field and get us a shot. So I spent a lot of time getting this blind brushed in. It actually looked really sweet and was able to hide us really well. So Saturday rolls around. Callie's got, how many soccer games did you play?
2.
2 games on Saturday. And then we run home. She jumps in the shower to take her scent-free shower. I'm throwing stuff in the truck, and we finally get out about 3 o'clock. And basically all we got to do is sneak across this field and pop into this ground blind. So we made it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Had our orange on because it was Michigan firearm season, and dressed in black other than that to be in the ground blind. And we get out there and we get the crossbow cocked. We get everything else kind of set, ready to go. She's going to be on my left. I'm going to be on the right. I think we did. What did we do? What did we do first? Do you remember? What was the thing I gave you with your hands to?
Oh, it was like, was it from a milkweed plant?
It was a milkweed, yeah.
It's like the fuzzy things that the milkweed make after it gets colder out, and he has a ton of them in a little container. And I take one and we put it out the window to see what way the wind is blowing, and it was blowing straight in front of us.
Yeah, so then knowing that the wind's blowing straight in front of us, where's the spot that we really don't want a deer to be at?
Right in front of us.
Right in front of us. So the wind was not ideal, but for anybody that doesn't use milkweed or something else to check wind direction, I highly recommend it. And this was a perfect example where Callie got to drop the milkweed, and what we thought was going to happen is the milkweed was going to run out the blind to our left, which pushed out into the middle of the field. Nowhere near where the deer were going to enter from and then hopefully walk into our shooting lane. Well, come to find out, our wind is blowing directly straight away from us out the front window, which is obviously not ideal, but we're going to make the most of it, right? So we're sitting there. I don't even remember what we were talking about. We were still kind of getting things situated, and I glance up, and what is out in front of us?
A small doe.
Yeah, like maybe 20 yards away from us, just standing broadside within the first 5 minutes of us being in the blind. So needless to say, we were not prepared. We didn't have our face masks on. We weren't ready to go. We were still talking to each other. We may have actually just got done doing a small interview that we did because I was filming it with my cell phone. And between the mixture of all the noise and the scent blowing out the window, this doe turns around and beelines right back into the swamp. So I told Callie, well, that's a good sign. Deer obviously moving, but maybe we need to be a little more serious and get quiet a little faster than we were thinking. So we sit back for a couple minutes. How long you think it was before we saw our first deer?
The second deer?
Well, yeah, not the one that ran back in. How long till we saw the next deer, I should say?
Maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, probably somewhere around in there. And then what were those deer that we saw?
It was the one eating the plant, the weeds.
Yep, over on the side of just kind of walked out of the swamp, turned around and was eating the underbrush right along the side of the field. And then it wasn't just a couple minutes after that, what happened?
There's this big doe that walks out from beneath this tree, and then there's 2 more following it, and they're under backside of the hill, so like we can't really see them, just their top of the backs. And they're there for a while.
Yep, and one of them actually had some sort of an injury. She was limping around. I'm pretty sure she had a front leg injury. So right away, Callie was like, if we get a chance, we should shoot her, which awesome thing to do from a sportsman standpoint is if you see a wounded animal and we have a tag for it, then nothing better than to be able to provide for the family and put the animal out of its misery. So we're kind of watching that deer in particular, but there were 3 big does out in the field with a couple of probably doe fawns, and there was definitely one button buck. And of course the button buck was the closest deer to us and was the one that we absolutely weren't going to shoot.
Yeah.
So the deer keep kind of eating. Like she said, there's a hill in front of us, and basically the way this worked is you could shoot 20 yards and you could shoot 30 yards, and that was just slightly uphill. And then if the deer was at the top of the crest of the hill, it was about 40 to 45 yards, which she's shooting her crossbow, and she's pretty confident out to that distance with her scope. So the deer come out and they make their way basically right directly in front of us. I can't say, did you really feel like they were smelling us?
I don't think so. They were just eating for a long time.
Yep, and they were almost getting to the point that they were walking too far past us.
Yeah.
And maybe weren't going to present a shot without getting close enough. I think the button bucks, because he was closer to us, he started to get a little antsy about something.
Yeah.
And so they all decided they weren't going to run. They all turned and headed back towards the bedding that they came out of, but they're taking a trail about 40 yards out, and Callie sees one of those big does standing broadside, and she decides that she probably wants to take a shot at it. So I give her the go-ahead. And do you remember everything that happened? Remember, we decided you were going to shoot it. I said, yeah. Mm-hmm. If you want to take a shot, go ahead. But then what did we have to wait for? What happened with one of the other deer?
Walked in front of us.
Yes.
Like in front of the one I was shooting for.
Yep. So we had a good learning lesson where Callie's looking through the scope and she's getting focused on the vitals of this doe that she wants to shoot, and trying to remember the fact that there's another deer who's going to cut between us, still making sure that we didn't put our finger on the trigger too early because we don't want to accidentally shoot the wrong animal.
Yeah.
So we held off until that deer got by, right?
Yeah, and then another one did the same thing.
Yep, another one did the exact same thing. And so where did you aim at on this doe? And keep in mind, this doe is at 40 yards, slightly uphill.
Yeah.
And where are you aimed with your scope at this point?
Like the back part of the shoulder blade.
Okay.
And then up a little bit.
Okay, so basically like halfway up and down, would you guess? From the bottom of the deer to the top of the deer?
Like stomach?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, probably.
So she gets it aimed. She squeezes the trigger. Once the deer have cleared, everything's great. But we learned a vital lesson, being the first deer that she's ever shot at, and being the fact that it was 40 yards away, is where she aimed was 100% perfect. If that deer would have stood still, like we practice with a target in the yard all the time, that target never moves, right?
Yeah.
That arrow would have hit absolutely perfect. But what happened at 40 yards and the noise of the string is that deer did the typical drop. And when they drop,
it gets low.
It gets super low, right? Like
yeah.
She put her belly on the ground. So right before that arrow gets ready to hit her, she puts her stomach on the ground as she's getting ready to spin, which actually puts the crossbow bolt about 3 inches over the top of her back. And it's a clean miss, and that deer turns around and bolts. And what was going through your head at that point?
Like right when she ducked, I go, well, since it's like my first deer that I've ever shot at, I didn't know if I hit her or not because I've never been with someone who has, and I didn't know like how loud it gets. And so my first question was, did I shoot her? And then when Dad said no, I was like, oh no. And then we got ready for the next bunch that walked in.
Yeah, so they ran off. All those deer cleared the field on the shot. And it was still, I think it was barely 4 o'clock. It might not even been 4 o'clock.
I think it was like right before.
And we're looking at dark at 5:40. So I was like, hey, we got a lot of time left. We're going to recock this thing and we're going to sit here and see what happens. And I told you a lesson at that point. Mm-hmm. And I said that, what did I say about what kills a lot of deer? You remember the word I used?
Curiosity.
Curiosity. I told her at that point, I said I wouldn't be surprised if they pop back out because curiosity has killed a lot of deer. And what I have found, and I'm sure anybody who's hunted for any amount of time, is a deer can wind you, or a deer can pick you off while you're hunting, or a deer can sense that something's wrong. But there's something in their instincts that unless they're absolutely terrified, which if they're terrified, they're going to turn around and run. Mm-hmm. If they're not absolutely terrified and they just get startled, something in them makes them want to come back and figure out what that danger is. And what I have found is I have killed a lot of deer, especially a lot of does, who have probably picked me off prior, have blown at me, have smelled me, have seen me move or something, but they just can't make themselves leave. They have to try to figure out more. And that's why I say curiosity kills a lot of deer. Well, it wasn't 5 minutes later, and we've got a doe and a doe fawn walking right back out into the field.
Was it one of the ones from before, you think?
Yes, 100% it was one of the ones from before. And when she came out, though, was she looking at us this time?
Yes.
Yes. She was...
Like right in the center of the blind.
Yes. She came back out. She knew something was wrong. She knew there was something that wasn't natural in her area. And she came out and stared directly at us in that blind and blew and stomped her foot. And she'd go 20 yards and she'd blow and she'd stomp her foot and she'd dance around and she'd look at us and she'd look at us. And Callie's got the crossbow reloaded, and we had a shooting lane out the left window and we had a shooting lane out the front of the blind. And that doe would go all the way over to the left. She'd run over and she'd stand there and she'd stomp, and Callie'd try to get the crossbow aimed out the left window. And then I'd be sitting there as Callie's trying to aim, and I'd say, wait, she's going to come back to the front. And I'll be darned if she didn't walk herself right back to the front of the blind again. And she'd blow and she'd stomp, but she'd be at a point where Callie couldn't shoot her. And she'd turn around and she'd go back out. This went on for like 20 minutes, didn't it?
It was constant.
And poor Callie is keeping her composure amazing because this is her first time ever doing this.
Yeah.
And you don't know if the deer's just going to run off forever or if it's going to stand around or what it's going to do. But you stayed really calm the whole time. And I was actually trying to record the whole thing. And eventually I just said, forget this. I got to put the phone down because I got to go into dad teaching mode here and work with you. And we talked our way through it, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we thought we were going to get a shot out the left window. She's stomping around. She turns around. She comes back to the front. And what happened?
Okay, so like she's in the front of the window and she's like at the spot where I took the first shot at. And
Yep.
she's like looking right at us and she's there for like a while. And so I'm like aiming, like looking through the scope, all this, making sure that it's in the right spot. And then like I asked if I could like shoot it to make sure that there's nothing else that was going to happen. And Dad goes, yeah, sure. And I hit the trigger and it like goes and we see fur fly and she just runs.
Yeah, we saw lots of hair fly. And it was a thud. Like
It was loud.
It was a really loud thud. And that Rage crossbow broadhead that we were using, I mean, that thing just smacked her. So she takes off running back towards the swamp again. And Callie's losing her mind. I have video footage. What just happened?
I shot a doe.
At 40 yards.
Yeah.
We saw lots of hair fly. We saw lots of hair fly.
Yeah.
We're not sure.
Hurt her.
It hit her hard.
Yeah.
We just don't know how far left or right, but we will give it some time and figure that out, won't we?
Yes.
That's awesome, kid. High five. But you were pretty excited, weren't you?
Yeah.
And what was going through your head? What was your first thought when you shot her?
I did it
Yep.
in like my first hunt, and we still had like lots of time before the sun was down.
Yeah, it still wasn't even dark yet, but I did want to go out and check for blood. I wanted to go out and see if I could find, the bolt from either the first shot or the second shot.
Yeah.
So Callie and I celebrate in the blind. How awesome! First time out, get a chance to take a deer. So be honest with me. Did you ever feel bad about shooting it?
No.
No, not at all.
No. Because I've like seen you and Uncle Buck with like a ton of deer and everything. And I just like know, kind of, because that's like the point of going out and doing it.
And I think one of the cool things that stood out to me too is typically when we go down to Ohio, if we shoot a deer, Michigan has rules that you can't bring it back unless it's fully deboned and all that. So a lot of times we either get the deer fully processed down there and then we have to meet back up to get it back, or we end up just donating it because of the convenience factor, and we've got families down there that can use the venison. But Callie was like, hey, if I shoot one in Michigan, then I get to be the one that fills our freezer. And so I think number one, it's really cool that you thought that. Number two, it took me back to, I think I was maybe 15 years old when I shot my first deer. And I remember, like you said, Uncle Buck, my brother, took me out. He bought me a bolt action 20 gauge. And he said, hey, I'm going to hunt this side of the property. You hunt that side of the property. Go sit wherever you want. And I picked a tree. I don't even think I had a bucket with me. I picked a tree. I went out. I sat down against the tree, and I had a couple of does come by, and I shot one, and that was the first time that I'd killed something. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, like, am I cool with the fact that I just did that? And I was, but I honestly, I think I questioned that probably more than Callie did. And the reason is I didn't have a lot of people in my life that were doing that stuff before I did it. So I think it was cool that you understood the provider aspect of it, that yeah, we don't ever kill animals because we want to kill animals. We kill animals to provide, and we kill animals to make the overall species stronger. I've had to explain to my younger daughter. She said, why do you kill deer? And I said, well, if you don't kill deer, then they're overpopulated and they don't all have enough food to eat, and it's actually worse for them. And there's a gamesmanship and a stewardship that goes to being a hunter, and I think it's super cool that at 12 years old, Callie already has that in her head as far as why she wants to shoot something, and it's to put meat in the family's freezer that we can eat for the rest of the year, which is super cool. So now for the bad part of the story, right, Callie?
Yeah. Wait, is it when we got back to the truck?
Yep. Okay. So I go out, I find minimal blood for like the first 20 yards, and I was like, we're gonna back out on this for a little bit. So we load everything up out of the ground blind, and we go back to the truck. And what was going on, kid?
So I was taking all my stuff off, and like, I think I had such like big adrenaline rush since like it was my first time like ever shooting at like an animal, and my head started hurting like really bad, and I get like headaches a lot, so I was like kind of used to it, but it was like one of my bad ones. And we got back into the car, and it starts like raining, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, I gotta go back and like look for more blood so it doesn't like wash away, because that would be bad. And he finds some more blood, and I'm just sitting in the truck, like knees against my forehead, like trying to lay down, like sleep, make it go away. And he comes back, and we start driving home. And like right when I get home, I go straight up to my bed because my head hurts so bad.
So obviously you're listening to a hunting podcast right now, which leads me to believe you've probably killed a deer in your life. But if you haven't, the adrenaline rush and the adrenaline dump that comes with shooting something, like, you know, I always laugh. Steve's big one is talking about his shaky hand. You know, he can't control the shaky hand. And, you know, I've shot deer that I've had to just sit down afterwards because if I didn't, I was going to fall out of my tree stand. It hit her so hard that she went from being totally ecstatic and excited to, I have the worst migraine headache ever. And so we did the 30-minute drive home. I called my brother up. He was more than willing to come help try to get Callie's first deer for her, but unfortunately, Callie was laid up in bed, and I went out with my brother. Real minimal blood. We couldn't figure out why, but, you know, it was drops every couple of steps. We were getting some up high on weeds and stuff, so we knew that the shot, you know, was relatively decent on the up-down portion of her body. Tracked, I think it was about 160 yards, which doesn't sound too far, but we're going through a cattail swamp, and all of a sudden we hear some thrashing going on, and we could tell about 30 yards up in front of us in these tall cattails that she was alive. And we're trying to figure out what we're going to do about that. I was going to go back to my truck and grab a knife or my pistol or something and see if I could finish off this deer, and walked back out. My brother stayed with the flashlight towards the deer, and by the time I walked back to him, she was actually gone about 2.5 hours after Callie actually shot her. So it was good that we backed out. And then when we came up on the deer, it was definitely obvious the shot was a little bit further back probably than where Callie was aiming. Definitely hit the liver. I actually don't think there were any lungs involved or anything up as far as the vitals go, but she hit that liver and got a perfect pass through, and the deer just needed time to die, and we were able to recover Callie's first doe. So next morning we got to get her out and take some pictures and stuff with her, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome. That was definitely a cool experience. Bittersweet that we didn't make the trip down to Ohio this year, but maybe now that you've got one under your belt, you'll decide next year, and I'll be feeling a little bit better that hopefully we can get back down there with everybody else. So Steve and Sam went down to Ohio. Not the normal trip that they have. Jay from down there had his daughter Brooklyn out in the stand. I don't think they had a lot of action. So the Ohio youth hunt was a little bit of a bust. I'm sure they had a ton of fun while they were down there, but unfortunately there wasn't a lot of deer killing going on. So we are just coming out of Thanksgiving weekend when this is released, and basically, you know, we're getting to the point the deer are getting back on food sources and stuff. So I'm still going to be out hunting now that Callie's got the freezer stocked up for us. Probably going to be kind of trophy buck only, but there are still good deer running around, and they're starting to hit back on these food sources. So, obviously you want to find your areas of heavier population of does and what they're trying to get to eat, both in the mornings and in the evenings. And typically that's where your bucks are going to follow too. So, I'm still going to be out there. I know Steve's still got some Michigan tags. And we're gonna keep plugging away at this, but we're gonna cut this right now. And when we come back, we're actually gonna have my wife Erica in the studio, and she is gonna be answering 5 quick questions about hunting season and what it means to her. And I actually ran Matt from Ohio's wife Kendra through the ringer on this when we were down there for our Ohio hunt, and we're going to see what the 2 girls have to say as far as their 5 answers to these questions about us and what hunting season means to them. So we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Smokin' It Smokers. Go to their website, smokinit.com, to check out one of the largest forums in the industry with recipes and tips on how to make the perfect barbecue. Who doesn't love making a delicious meal for their family? Smokin' It Smokers allow you to do just that. Simply set the settings and walk away, only to come back hours later to have a delicious meal waiting for you. Smokin' It Smokers, when only the best will do.
All right, so Callie has been replaced. Her mother decided that it was time to get in the hot seat here, so I've got my wife Erica sitting across from me here in the studio. And back when we were down in Ohio, Matt, Steve, and I came up with a list of 5 questions that we thought would be funny to ask the wives, just to see what their answers are.
I'd like to know the ratio of questions per person.
As far as which one of us came up with them?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I don't even know. It was
Yeah.
pretty even. It was pretty even, I think.
There's
was a
5,
lot of
so-
agreement.
Oh,
There was a
okay.
lot of agreement
All
between
right.
us, and Kendra has already been run through this. Not on video, so Kendra's responses are going to be audio only, but we're going to see how Kendra and yours match up, and then we'll make sure we get Renee on this
Yes.
on another episode. So are you ready for the questions? Then we can talk a little bit afterwards, but I got to run you through questions.
All right, let's do it.
All right. First question. How long have we been together?
You and me?
Yeah?
Oh, dear. This is not at all what I was expecting.
Oh, see? I told you you're not going to get to know.
Well, this has been a minute. So, I mean, we first started dating back when I was a senior in high school. Are we counting those moments?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Okay. Well, so I was 18 at that moment.
How old are you now?
Oh, too old. But I'm going to say about 20 to 22 years.
All right. And for a majority of that, I would say a decent majority, I hunted.
Oh,
Maybe
I
not
don't-
as much as...
Yeah, we should talk about that.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
We're gonna.
Am I diverting from the script too
No,
much?
we're coming back to this because
okay,
you
all right.
answered the first question.
Okay,
so
great.
so we
Next
can
one.
dive back into it.
All right.
Matt's wife Kendra, who I actually have sitting here with me right now while I'm down here on my hunt in Ohio, and the girls have no idea what these questions are that we are about to ask. But Kendra, are you ready for this?
I guess so.
All right. So first off, how long have you and Matt been together?
We have been married 21 years. We met 21 years ago. We met on a blind date, married 4.5 months later, and 21 years later, here we are.
And has Matt been hunting and fishing and all that through all of this time, or?
No, when we first met, it was all about golf. So I learned how to golf because I wanted to be out on the golf course with him. We'd probably been married just about 2 years when he went hunting on Christmas Eve and got a doe, and he was hooked. And he tried to get me hooked on hunting, and I went out with him one time, and I decided it was going to be a thing that he was going to do with the guys.
Oh, all right. And we appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
I will gladly hunt with Matt anytime. All right. So the second question. What is the best thing that your husband does for you during hunting season?
Oh. I feel like the video is very important.
There has to be something.
Kendra wasn't on video for this. I need the immediate facial reaction.
This is teaching lessons as far as things that husbands do during hunting season that their wives appreciate.
You are out doing a passion that you love. It's a hobby that you work hard for, that I respect, and you are always great at asking about, can I go hunt tonight? Or can I go out in the morning? Do you want me to do something for the kids? So there's a little give and take. So I think that is respectable. Obviously, with the bottom line being, I want to fill the freezer for our family. And I think that is very respectable.
All right. Kendra, are you ready for this? What is the best thing that your husband does during hunting season?
The best thing he does during hunting season.
For you.
For me. Well, when he gets a deer, he turns it into snack sticks, which is I love. So we always have lots of snack sticks in the freezer.
All right.
Yes.
Third question. There's only 4.
Oh, great. Okay,
I lied.
Right,
there's only 4. What is your least favorite part about hunting season?
I actually love the hobby. To me, it is a safe hobby because there are many other things you could be doing that I don't respect or that I don't think are beneficial to the family for our core values. I think the hard part about hunting season is that it can be a very long season.
It's only a quarter of the year.
Oh, man. But that quarter of the year is all at once. And so that is hard. And so there are moments where, especially for us, like we're coming off of soccer season with our girls. And so that gets difficult because we're already kind of jockeying our schedules around. We don't see each other a lot during the give and take of who's taking which kid to what practice. And then all of a sudden we go right from that to hunting season. Hey, I'm out early in the morning, or I got to get out early in the afternoon. I'm not home till past dinner. And so that can get a little challenging. Yeah. And it goes for a long time, right? You have till January 1st. So you piggyback that from bow season to gun season to continuing bow season. I think it can be a long season.
All right. Kendra, are you ready for this? What is your least favorite part about hunting season?
Honestly, I would say there's not a least part. I like that he has a hobby that he is that involved in. I like that he has good friends that he can go out with. I enjoy my alone time every now and then, so it's a good thing when I can have my alone time and go out with my girls. Probably the least favorite is when he comes home and says, I had a deer right in front of me, but I didn't shoot it. And I don't ever understand that.
And that just happened.
And that did just happen, which is why I thought about that, because I had a good shooter, or not, he won't say a shooter, but I had a good deer, but I just decided to pass, and that makes no sense to me. So.
All right. All right. What is the craziest thing that your husband does that involves hunting?
Scent-free everything. Scent-free everything. I can't wash the towels. I got to make sure his scent-free wash is in the shower. We have an ozone closet. It smells the whole house. We are all in. This is a family affair. This isn't just a Greg hobby. It now becomes a family hobby, and it stinks ass in the house when you have the ozone on. We walk in the back door and instantly the kids are like, oh, Dad's got the ozone on. Yes, he sure does. And God forbid, if all of these things are happening and you don't come home with a big buck, we got some issues.
So what's funny is I can't remember. We're going to play what Kendra's response to that question was. But then as soon as we stopped recording, she goes, I should have brought up ozone.
Oh, yes, girl. Yes.
So, yeah, I guess ozone is the crazy thing that we do that stinks up the whole house. So, Kendra, are you ready for this? The final question is, what is the craziest memory you can think of that involves Matt and hunting?
Well, it's going to involve all of you as well. The online dating, as you all met. I did online dating for a husband before I met Matt. I never knew that was a thing for hunters.
We didn't know that either.
No. So that was definitely the craziest when he told me some guys he had talked online and they were going to come to the cabin. I just thought he had lost his mind.
And now here we are 11 years later,
yes,
sitting in your living room doing a podcast.
Very thankful for your guys' friendship for him, for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, that's the 4 questions. But now beyond that, since I have you in front of a microphone,
great.
Yeah, it's been a long time that Erica has dealt with. Not just hunting, but turning it in beyond a passion into somewhat of a career that didn't pay any money.
Yeah.
But lots of hours of editing, lots of hours of filming. When we first started Pass Through, she was standing in Steve's backyard while we were learning how to use the video camera.
Yeah, let's talk to Steve about that story.
Yeah, I mean, you've been through and been around it quite a bit, more so I would say than the average hunting wife that just lets the weekend warrior go out and hunt. You've got to experience with me and all the rest of the guys, not just us and our family. So
yeah, for sure. I think growing up, my uncle and my cousin were hunters, and I knew that. I remember always going to their house over holidays in Lake Odessa, and the whole living room, like they kind of had this one step into the living room, and like the whole perimeter was covered with like moose and deer, like coyotes, like all of the things. And I remember thinking as like a middle school kid, a high school kid, I'm like, what in the hell is this? Like, I don't know where I am. I'm in Lake Odessa. I'm in the middle of nowhere to what seemed at that time, middle of nowhere, right?
Darn Okemos girls.
I know, damn it. And so that was a learning experience. And then I didn't really understand the hobby at that time, right? Like, the sport. I wasn't sure. I knew my uncle went out west to hunt a lot, and I knew, my cousins were involved in hunting on their property, but I didn't really know what went into that. So the big joke, Greg and I, get married, and I remember talking to my same uncle and my same cousin. They're like, oh my gosh, here's this Okemos girl marrying this, Dansville boy, and he hunts, and oh my gosh, you listen to country music, and now he hunts. And I'm like, yeah, this is wild. But you weren't in it as much then that I remember when I first met you. Yes, you hunted. We're at a whole new level, folks. This is like, we're all in. Like, and it's fun to see that transformation happen. I think what the coolest part about it is, and I've shared this with you, is your friendships, right? Like, you have your core friendship with those Dansville boys, with Ron and Steve and, Joe, and, you guys talk about hunting all of the time, and then you meet Matt and Jay, who, God forbid if we get to that story, like how you met them is so incredible, that those core relationships and your hunting that comes with it, I think is just super cool. if it's one hobby I can support for you, that would be the top of my list, because I know there are many others that could be a thing.
And at the same time, you were the wife who not only had the hunter, but you had the editor at home. And a lot of people don't know the time that goes into the back end. You know, when we first started filming, we filmed everything on small little cassette tapes. And to put those cassette tapes on a computer, you actually had to play it in real time on the computer. So if you were looking at an hour and a half worth of footage, you had an hour and a half of me sitting in the office playing it back on the computer, and then probably another 10 to 15 hours editing that specific hunt. You know, I think I figured at one point I was spending probably about 20 hours on a single episode.
Oh yeah.
And that was time that we weren't together. I mean, I was in the house, but we weren't together. And so you not only went through sitting 3-4 hours of a hunt out in the woods, it was sitting in office time after that, trying to put it into a show or now a podcast. I mean,
I'm having some emotions.
The podcast has been a little bit better, though, I think, as far as the editing and stuff, for the fact that you can be more involved in it. You know, being able to sit down and talk with us, or having, you know, Callie be involved in it. Or what was your thoughts on that, getting Callie out for the first time? Because you've gone out deer hunting with me one time. Mm-hmm. And what did we just say? We just found the picture. That was at 11 years ago.
I was pregnant for Callie.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you sat with me.
We're about 12 and a half years out.
And you sat with me opening day of gun season.
Yep.
And that doe walked up to our ground blind and stuck her head in the window.
Yeah, and I told them it's because I'm pregnant.
And almost licked your face. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that was wild. It's been a long time. Yeah, like I said, I love the sport. I love what it stands for. I love who it brings together, the stories, the food on the table, all the things. To see Callie do it and be so passionate and do it with you, I think is so cool. We see our kids do a lot of things with us as coaches or as supporters, but to like do this sport with her dad literally brought tears to my eyes. Like you sending the video, you know, to me of her first shot, and then sending the video to me of the second shot, and her sending me and you the live like note page of, you know, what time I saw this size doe, what time, you know, this buck walked in. Like that was so cool. Like she was so excited. Obviously the adrenaline kicked her booty a little bit, and you know, that just goes to show truly the emotions that go into the sport, that I was like, holy crap, this is like a real deal. I have never shot anything. I've never gone out to hunt with the purpose to shoot. So for her to be able to do that at age 12 and have that core memory with you, I thought was really cool. Like I literally like had tears in my eyes watching that at home. I can only imagine for you what that felt like, you know, in the blind.
Oh, it was awesome. And then the flip side of it that's kind of funny is I remember Callie being like all into this forever. So we've got video of her using my rabbit in distress call standing in the living room when she's 3 years old, you know.
And our dog going crazy.
And trying to shoot, you know, a little Nerf bow and all that to start. And then, yeah, she's always kind of been into it. And then she shoots her deer, and we've got Clara, who's 7, who's like, Dad, I don't want to kill an animal. And I'm like, that's totally fine. She's like, I'll support you and Callie doing it, but I don't think I want to kill them. And that's totally fine.
Yeah, we'll see. Right?
But yeah, she could totally change her mind on it. But like you've got your own bow.
Yeah. You
went out and shot the Gammo air rifle with us. Last year. Like, you're not afraid to shoot. You just don't know that you necessarily want to shoot an animal.
I think for me, well, yeah, I love the target shooting. I'm not opposed to hunting. For me, sometimes, just as a parent, as a mom, I guess I should say, like, sometimes I struggle with differentiating my time. right? So I'm not opposed to shooting something, but I think it's super cool that you do that for our family. I think it's super cool that Callie wants to do that with you. She was so excited to fill our freezer with our first doe this season, and you know, things like that. So yeah, I'm not going to rule it out of my future. I honestly like watching her, and the emotion and the adrenaline kick like makes me kind of hungry for it, that I'm like, maybe I got to check this out. So it's on my radar.
We've also said that it never would have worked if you were as into it as I was.
Oh, no.
Because
I would have kicked your ass.
Well,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no, not what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
Because your clothes wouldn't be in the ozone room.
Oh.
But
Yes, they would.
But the divide of being able to have somebody that can help get kids to practices or pick kids up from school or whatever.
Yeah.
If we were both wanting to hunt nonstop, it'd be a train wreck, because there'd be a nonstop argument about it.
Yeah, for sure. I think I take some pride in like knowing that this is your hunting season and this is your hobby, your sport that you want to do. And so I take pride in like, yep, okay, Greg says the wind is right, or the temp is right, or the moon phase is right, or, you know, whatever might be happening, that I'm able to take the kids to and from practice, or do dinner, or do the things, right? Like, my parents are incredible. Like, if I know Greg's got to be gone for the week in Ohio, or, you know, wants to hunt when he gets home for opening day, like, I have an incredible support system. And I always tell you, like, I have my hobbies, and you're great about supporting those, that I feel like it's only right that I'm able to help you.
Yeah. So your big thing is running and distance running, which takes a lot of training and stuff.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like on the other end of it too, when you're in the middle of training for a marathon or whatever. But I think that's part of the give and take of being able to do this, where I think some guys get in trouble by being maybe too selfish and not supporting their wives in what they want to do, or giving their wives time to do something, or not respecting their wives' time and that type of thing. So I think one thing that we've all learned along the way that we try to portray to people who are maybe just getting into it is, the more that you work with your significant other on it, the more enjoyable life is altogether, and the more enjoyable the hunting is, because you're not sitting in the tree stand feeling guilty that you're doing something wrong. And there have been times that we've done that, you know, when we had the television show and we had to go out and produce. There was plenty of times that you'd be sitting in a tree going, this is not the place I should be right now, but we had an obligation to be there, and hopefully you've got the right support system at home, and you're doing the right things to keep everybody happy and find that happy medium. So I would say if there's a lesson for anybody to take away from this, it would be to make sure that it's a team effort. And especially if kids are involved in that type of thing, don't just dump it on your wife to
Yeah, I think you're great about like asking, like, hey, can I hunt this afternoon? Right. And as much as I love the question, I always hate the question, because I'm like, I don't want to gatekeep you from doing a hobby that you love. But I also like love and respect that you're like, oh, hey, like, I know kids have, you know, 2-3 different things going on tonight. Like, are you good? Right. So I think that's like super respectful. And I think it's a fair question. You know, and I think too, like, our hobbies are different seasons sometimes. So like, I just know like this is going to be our next 2-3 months are going to be tough. Like, it's hunting season. And so like our priorities shift a little bit. So yeah. Do I like get excited for you to hunt? Yeah. Do I get pissed when you go out and you want to like shoot a big buck and you come home empty-handed multiple times? Yep, I sure do. Because I'm like, damn it, if you're going to go out and this dude is on camera X amount of times and you don't see him, what in the hell is going on? So is there frustration? Yes, I'm not going to sugarcoat any of this conversation. But I also have an internal guilt that I'm like, damn it, if the one time he doesn't go out today and that buck is on camera, I'm never going to hear the end of it. So I do want you out there as much as possible, because if that dude's on camera, you better get it.
Like you today saying that you drove out. And saw one of my target bucks on your way
Yeah.
out.
On the one night that I want to go out with some girlfriends. Yeah.
And I didn't say anything.
Oh,
about
you
it.
did too.
You just carry that guilt with you. It'll be okay.
It's not going to work out well for you.
And then the other thing I would say, I think the other hot topic between significant others is being able to hang deer heads in the wall in your house. So I'm just going to show this real quick.
This is the only room, folks.
So
The one and only room, and it's already full.
So we built this house, and Erica's rule was that there were not going to be any deer heads on the wall in the new house. So one day when she left, I accidentally put a couple of holes in the wall that just happened to hold these deer. And then when she came home, I said, there's holes already there. We can't take them down now. So they've been there ever since.
Been there ever since. And this is the only room. So if you shoot another big deer, one of these has to come down.
We'll figure that part
Which
out.
will be very unfortunate for you.
But
also, what is the last year of one of these up here? Let's go there.
2013.
Oh, shit.
No,
folks.
sorry. No, 2013. 2013 was my big one here in the middle. But then these two were both last year. That's my Ohio bow buck, followed by my Michigan gun buck.
Okay.
So, yes, there are a couple that were recent.
So you're due.
I am.
You're due.
But my point is if your wife says that you can't hang deer on the wall, what you do is wait for them to leave, and then you hang them on the wall.
Okay. All right. Got it. Now I know your tactic.
And then write in to theproviderspodcast@gmail.com and let us know how that worked out for you. Because
your
we
back,
would
ladies.
love to hear it. All right. Well, I think that is going to do it for this episode. As I just said, if you guys have any comments, questions, feel free to write into theproviderspodcast@gmail.com. You can check us out on Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook. If you want to watch us, make sure you check us out on YouTube. We appreciate all your support. We appreciate Smoking It Smokers for being our sponsor. Make sure you guys are checking them out. They've got some deals going on before Christmas right now. You can find them at smokingit.com, or you can also find them on Amazon, which is cool. So we actually just smoked Thanksgiving turkey on our Smoking It Model 2. Turned out amazing. So make sure you guys check those out if you get a chance. We appreciate you guys hanging out this week. We will see you guys next time.
Yeah.